last couple of years, we focused especially on the work with CSOs in large corporations. So we started the CSO Awards in Davos last year, went to New York, and this year we're basically on our road to Belém.
In Hawaii, there's an observatory measuring the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere every single day, more than 50 years. It's the longest measurement series we have out there. And last week, we were record high level, 430 ppm. That's very alarming. So what are the new United States administration doing about this? They're going to end the lease to the observatory, to kill the observatory, kill the data. That's what we're up against. And it's not just the United States. It's Europe as well. In Germany, one of the largest party wanted to close and tear down all wind power mills in Germany. That's also cancelling science. So this is crazy, and that's why we at We Don't Have Time are here today at ChangeNOW to kickstart a new campaign to mobilize everyone against this. We need to step up, and what we need to do, we need to make science great again.
About the US is cheaper, so let's move all our industries to the US. But what is cheaper? I mean, if it's just the cost of the molecules, maybe. But if you add the transport, the backup, etc., it's not true. Okay, so we also need to fight on the data and the reality behind what is being said. And of course, I'm not even talking about negative externalities about shale gas, etc. So I think we have to really have a good base for comparison. But on the other hand, and I will finish on that, I don't believe that we will reindustrialize everything in Europe. I think we need to think about where do we really need to add value. The fact that 95% of the solar panels are made in China and India means that the energy transition is cheaper for so many emerging markets, right? We should celebrate that. So maybe that's not where we should fight. Maybe we should fight for other part of the value chain, because we still need to have some form of sovereignty. So I think we need to have this maturity of where do we want to fight for the good jobs, for the good transition, but not just fight each other just on who wants to have its own local energy transition.
And waste equity and fashion to energy, and I'm coming here with a call to all our partners, because we are a solution, or the most sustainable and cost-effective solution of disposal of non-recyclable textile in all industry. If it's a fashion industry, sports industry, car industry, whatever, everything what is non-recyclable textile, we will change into fashion fuel.
Well, I think in this moment of great turmoil, there's a real opportunity to mobilize people in a new way. And I love this new campaign that was launched today, Making Science Great Again, because I think we need to excite people around the possibility of action and not just the doom and gloom. And what we work on is really to focusing on the potential of employees at work to be really part of the solution and to contribute to transform the organization in the context of their jobs, their roles at work every day. So, there's lots of levers you can pull to enable a change of the system, but trying to capture the motivation and the passion of employees at work is what we are focusing on.
Hello, I'm the former CEO of Decathlon, and I actually wrote a North Star, which was an inspiring vision of what we wanted to be as Decathlon long term.
And we actually got all the stores to have repairability shops. We got all the products at Decathlon to be redesigned for clean materials. And we also went very, very big with innovation. And so for the first time, we got textile to textile recycling, which is giving me so much hope, actually, because even if it's the beginning, the demonstration that is possible gave me hope. In 3 years, we got actually, the decoupling between the CO2 emissions and the growth. We got an incredible movement in society around circularity. Incredible. So now just the kids' bikes, for instance, the #1 selling business model is renting.
So things are possible. Circularity is going like this at Decathlon and will continue. Thank you.
We have to shift our conversation. Is about performance, it's about growth, it's about innovation. So at Bloomberg, we're very proud of what we do. We're really trying to ensure that the conversation goes back to data, because with data there are no lies. So my message is, I really hope that one day the CSO role will disappear, because that means that we have achieved it, that we are there. When nobody speaks about the CSO role, it's because that role is embedded in strategy, is embedded throughout the organization. It's not just one little department in one of the corners of the organization. It's actually inspired through employees, through leadership in so many different departments like compliance, legal, investor relations, marketing, communities, etc.
There is no discrepancy between the sustainability report, which says I'm net zero, but then in your financial account, you still have assets, which we know for a fact would be stranded tomorrow if you are truly true to the net zero, right? And today you can have this complete discrepancy and nobody cares. So I think this is what we're really trying to do in the National Accounting Commission, where I entered a couple of months ago to do this interconnectivity between the accounts and the sustainability. And I think this is the only way when we will really count what truly counts.
Ulrike, how is your take on finance risk versus value creation?
Whatever is happening in a very thwarted political world, I think business is much further already and is actually seeing that value. I think the challenge to us as CSOs, coming back to the purpose of this situation here, this meeting, is we have to really think hard about the roles we're playing in a company. And it's always many roles. We're stewards, we're facilitators, we're moderators. That changes year on year, it changes day on day. But really have to figure out what's our role that is needed now in our particular situation, particular company, particular power play that's going on. How do we play that strategically? And I feel, generally speaking, for me, it's very, very important that we become more strategic, more able to indeed speak to the CFOs and leverage the knowledge of the finance department, but make them think more long term, because that's not what they usually do in normal business, make them think more long term and push in that direction, but to also engage in advocacy. Because, as you say, all of this is systemic change that needs a systemic answer. That's not for individual companies to only solve. So we need to engage in advocacy here, but particularly with people in policy making, to really bring that message of a progressive, really forward-looking, transformational part of business that says we need this for our own survival, because we want to still be here in 10 years.
So I was recently actually on Big Island in Hawaii, and why is Big Island so important is they have one of the most amazing observatories there with which they can literally measure how much CO2 there is in the atmosphere. And I was actually there with a group of scientists as part of a trip around the world to really look at sustainability projects and also how we can learn from one another. And I remember that one of the people in our group said, you know, this observatory is actually protecting America, but it's actually protecting the world. You know, Australia used to have an observatory, I said as well. It's because of Australia that we know how bad it actually was. And then one of the things is what we were talking about, and so this was literally a week after the inauguration, that they said, can you imagine if they actually withdraw the funding? Because they, you know, America doesn't, the new government does not want this information and this science to come out. So here I am, as the founder of the Hurry Up group, very proudly wearing a hat, Make Science Great Again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's getting a sense of agency to taking back control of our own destiny, that all these small changes that you make in the context of your work can make a big difference. And I think that's the shift of narrative that needs to happen, that climate change seems that hugely complex and insurmountable problem. But in fact, in the same way that we have created it, it's the same way that we can contribute to address it, a small step at a time.